Okay, sorry, just a quick video on the disposal of an asset. There are 4 steps you want to look at when you're disposing of an asset. There's 4 steps you want to look at and make sure you do. First of all, you want to record the depreciation for the asset today. So you want to do the journal entry for depreciation expense. And so therefore, not unless you sell it on December 31st, you're going to have partial year depreciation. So that's the first entry in what you want to do. And then you want to remove the asset and the accumulated depreciation associated with that asset off the books. Because if you're disposing of it, you want to take it off the books. So you want to make sure your journal entry reflects that. And we'll look at that in just a minute. Then you want to record any cash, or it could be another asset. We're going to focus on cash that you received or paid at disposal. Having problems spelling today, aren't I? And then finally, you want to record any gain or loss on the sale. So if you receive cash, you're going to debit it. If you paid out cash, that's going to be credit. Intended for that to be in red. So when you're looking at that part of that entry, if it is a gain on the sale, you're going to credit that gain. If it's a loss on the sale, you're going to debit that loss. So those are the 4 steps that you look at when you're disposing of an asset. And so let's kind of just look here. So when you're selling a plant asset, the first thing you want to do is you want to compare the sales price to the book value. And if we remember, book value is cost minus accumulated depreciation on the assets. So that's what you want to do. And if the sales price, if it's equal to your book value, then there's no gain or loss on that sale. If the sales price is, looking for my sign here, is, it's greater than the book value, then that's a gain. If the sales price is less than the book value, then that's a loss. Okay? So let's just kind of look at just a short problem, if we will. So let's say that we have an asset that cost us $105,000. No salvage value, and it was 7-year asset. And when we do that, that equals $15,000 of depreciation per year. We're going to assume that we bought it in January, and let's assume that we sell this asset on July, I cannot spell today, July 1st of the 5th year. So for 4 years, we've taken $15,000 of depreciation. And that equals $60,000 of depreciation that we've taken. And then in our 5th year, we only held it for 6 months. And so we want to take that $15,000 full year depreciation and we want to multiply it times 6/12. And we only want to take $7,500 of depreciation. So my total depreciation, and so what I would do, if you remember back in step 1 up above, I want to actually do that journal entry on July the 1st of the 5th year. I would debit depreciation expense for $7,500, and I would credit accumulated depreciation. So that's that first step that we talked about for $7,500. Got too many zeros up here. And so that's what I would do. And so my total, that means my total accumulated depreciation would then total accumulated depreciation would be $67,500. So that's what the total. And so my book value for this asset at the time of sale would be the $105,000, my cost, minus my book value of accumulated depreciation of $67,500, and it would give me a book value of $37,500. So that's my book value at the time of my sale. So we want to look at the journal entries here associated. So if I sell it at book value, that means my sales price in this instance was $37,500. So if I sell it at book value, then if you remember up above, there's no gain or loss on the sale. So my entry would be, if I sell it at book value, I would debit cash for $37,500. I would debit accumulated depreciation, because if you remember, we said, look at my steps up there. So I've already recorded my depreciation. I've done step 1. So the next step is we wanted to remove our accumulated depreciation off the books. Accumulated depreciation generally has a credit balance. So in order to remove it off the books, I'm going to debit it for the $67,500. And then I will remove the asset from the books. And let's say this is equipment. And the asset cost me $105,000. And so that's all I would do, because that's all the entry, because I don't have any gain or loss. I recorded a debit to cash because I received it as I indicated in my steps up there. And so that's it. I have no gain or loss. So that would be your entry. Well, what if we sold it for a price above book value? What if my sales in this instance was, and I'm just going to make it simple, $40,000. So if I sold it for $40,000, that's above book value. And so in that instance, I would get cash of $40,000. That's my cash received. I would still, and I'm just going to cut and paste this for time, I would still do this part of the entry. I would still take the asset off the books. I still have to do that. I'm going to debit accumulated depreciation and credit my equipment. So that part of my entry does not change. But I now have a gain because my book value was $37,500 and I sold it for $40,000. So that means I sold it for a gain. And so when I have a gain, as indicated in my notes, it's a credit. So gain on sale of $2,500. And so notice my debits equal my credits in this instance. So that would be my entry there. So if I sell it above book value, so if I sell it for $40,000, I have a $3,500 book value, $37,500 book value, then I sell it at a gain. If I sell it below the book value, let's say that, once again, just to make it simple, let's say I sold it for $30,000. So that's obviously below my book value. And so I'm going to get cash. And let's keep this red. Sorry about that. I'm going to get cash of $30,000. And this middle entry remains the same. That doesn't change. But now I have a loss. And a loss, as we indicated in our notes, is a debit. So I'm going to debit loss on sale of, how much was my loss? My loss is $7,500. So $7,500 would be my credit to loss on sale. So that would be my entry. My debits equal my credits in that entry. And so that is just a good example of our disposal on sale.